I can't help but being overwhelmed by the ineptitude of House Democrats investigating this president. If they have an embarrassment of riches, they are exhibiting an embarrassment of ineptitude. How have they gotten to a place where they are investigating the president of the United States, possibly involved in hush money payments to a pornographic film actress and a Playboy model, and it's boring? It's completely uninteresting. They have managed to make rehashing newspaper headlines from 2016 the focus of their investigation, and it is making no progress against a president who has a lot of progress to be made, presumably.
The investigation that man, Michael Steele, calls boring concerns hush money paid to adult film star Stormy Daniels and former Playboy model Karen McDougal. According to a House Judiciary Committee aide, public hearings on the president's alleged role in those payments could come as soon as October. Our own Ken Delanian reports it this way. Democrats believe the hush money scandal is an easier and clearer case to present to the public than the question of whether Trump obstructed the Russia investigation. President Trump's former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, pleaded guilty to campaign finance violations over those very same hush money payments. Here now a reminder of some of what he told the House Oversight Committee earlier this year.
I am providing the committee today with several documents, and these include a copy of a check Mr. Trump wrote from his personal bank account after he became president to reimburse me for the hush money payments I made to cover up his affair with an adult film star and to prevent damage to his campaign.
We should note President Trump and his lawyers have long denied doing anything illegal regarding the payments. According to our latest NBC News count, 134 Democrats, 1 independent, support an impeachment vote or inquiry against the president. For more, we are happy to be joined by Democratic Congressman Ted Lieu of the state of California, who happens to be a member of the House Judiciary Committee. Congressman, thank you for coming on. Can you try to convince me taking your summer break wasn't a complete momentum killer for Democrats in the House? If you have to come back and say to the people watching, oh, no, we're going to tell a different story now. This one's about an adult film star, a Playboy bunny, and hush money payments.
Thank you, Brian, for your question. We're going to continue telling the same story with obstruction of justice. We're also going to be talking about these hush money payments. Michael Cohen is sitting in prison right now because of these hush money payments. Donald Trump wrote the checks that ultimately became the source of funds that were integral for these payments. Any other American faced with these same facts will be sitting in prison next to Michael Cohen. The only reason the president has not been indicted is because of the Department of Justice policy that prevents indictment of a sitting president. We're going to hold hearings to bring out these facts for the American people.
Okay, help us out on the next front, and that is, what do you call what we're looking at right now? We had Jerry Nadler go on this network and CNN on a random Thursday night in the middle of summer and say, yeah, it's kind of an impeachment inquiry. Your speaker wants none of that, as you well know. What is this we're witnessing exactly?
Thank you, Brian. We are in an impeachment inquiry. Our court filings say we're in an impeachment inquiry. We are holding hearings to decide whether or not we should impeach Donald Trump. It is very clear to me that the President of the United States has committed multiple felonies: obstruction of justice, campaign finance law violations, other felonies. What members of Congress do with that information, it's up to them and their conscience and their districts. At some point, Speaker Pelosi, who I greatly respect, will make a decision with the House Democratic Caucus, and I will respect that decision, whatever it is.
Do you concede that, looking back on it, as we've tried to point out many times on this broadcast, perhaps the Mueller report failed in its lack of a storyteller or writer cohesion, and in the day and age we're living in, where here we are quoting 2 and 3 lines at a time on Twitter? And by the same account, would you agree that Democrats in the House of Representatives perhaps suffer for lack of telling a cogent, cohesive story to the American people?
So one reason that there has been somewhat this difficulty is because of the massive obstruction that the White House is engaged in preventing witnesses from coming before our judicial and other committees. But if you look at what Robert Mueller actually said, look, he's not going to get an Emmy Award for his performance, but he did say yes, and generally accurate and true to a whole boatload of very damning facts about the President of the United States. Robert Mueller essentially established the crime of obstruction of justice multiple times being committed by the president. That was actually what his testimony was when we had it before the summer recess.
Final question. Will you, Ted Lieu, be content if all we get is kind of this rolling hearings all the way up to the next presidential election? The ball doesn't really move into the majority of Democrats, the overwhelming support that the Speaker named as her ceiling for calling this an impeachment. Do you think that will do enough to publicly remind the American people of, even if you regard them to be high crimes and misdemeanors, violations of the president's oath that he took at his inauguration? Will that be enough for you, Congressman, of a standard to keep this story before the people?
I think it's important for us to continue to hold these hearings to educate the American people about the actual crimes that Donald Trump committed. But at some point, the House Democratic Caucus is going to have to make a decision as to whether or not we go forward with articles of impeachment. That's going to be a decision that Speaker Pelosi will be making with the House Democratic Caucus. And again, whatever that decision is, I'm going to respect. But in the meantime, we're going to hold hearings in the Judiciary Committee to continue to highlight these crimes by the President of the United States to the American people.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.